Welcome back to Let's Rush the fuck out of the game.
Seriously, it's...
So,
Again, it's sad, especially because these, again, also what they wanted to do with this particular piece of the world, they wanted kind of replicate the Zora kingdoms in the Legend of Zelda games, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work.
I guess we can
also,
breathe
apparently,
underwater.
everyone in the party, everyone in the party can breathe underwater.
Hey,
just roll with it.
my guess is that...
I'm guessing the power of the moon allows them to do such a thing.
I was just gonna guess that, you know, what's-her-face gave us the ability to breathe underwater, since apparently her race can help us breathe underwater. Like, seriously.
Oh, Jen. Okay.
Did Jen join our party? Like, seriously, that's how unmemorable she is because of how Rustus is.
No, she hasn't yet.
Not yet.
She's confident enough that Aurora will recover.
Is
her
it sad that I
parents
can already
from the
guess that Jen's gonna join our party?
Well, I also
be
told
fair,
to you, Jova.
that's RPG modus
Well,
operandi.
to be fair, Michael, not all RPGs have to succumb to that. It's just, again, this... Okay, look. This is rushed to the point where this feels almost like a different game, in terms of quality, anyway.
Didn't you say we only had 19 parts of this?
17.
Wait, so we only have 3 parts left.
Wow, that's...
Oh,
And,
yeah, after
trust
this,
me, we're actually
after
really
the
close
parts,
to the
yes.
final dungeon.
Oh
We're
god,
really
they're gonna pad out the final dungeon, aren't they?
Okay, to give you an idea, Joe, but don't worry, saying this doesn't spoil anything. We literally jump from fighting Nox, aka Fake Nora, to fighting Umbra. Literally. There's
Is there at least a good
nothing
sense
in
of
between.
transition?
There is. There is.
There is something in between,
But it's not good
but
or well executed, is it?
I
No,
honestly
no,
think
it
it
is
could have
fine.
been done better. Also,
I
there you
think
go.
it's fine.
Jova, there you go. There's a stone mark with the Ubisoft logo.
Cute.
That's a charming touch. See,
Anyway,
that's what I wanted the game to. Also, those jumping dolphins are kind of a reference to Rayman
Can they hurt
Legends.
you?
No, they're just in the background. But that's the problem. What's one of the problems to me? This game has these charming moments. It just makes me wish they were done. You know, there were more of these, but it was done better. So, also, this is another cool puzzle. Essentially, what we need to do, it's another one of those illumination kind of like puzzle. We need to move the pedestal in the right place and then illuminate the corresponding Roman number on the tapestry.
All right.
You know,
Honestly, I was under the impression that I said a couple of parts ago that everything before going through the mirror feels like a prologue. I thought we were just starting to get into the main game, but we're at the tail end.
I had to admit it.
I don't. This is one of the most rushed stories I've ever seen.
Out the game was promptly rushed and told by Ubisoft getting
it's about the
But again, it's one of the most rushed things I've ever seen.
Welcome to 2014 Ubisoft.
You know,
we care only about Tom Clancy.
Sure. Wait till you see Assassin's Creed Unity. Like, again, it's something that needs to be seen to believe. But yeah, that's a good point here. I mean, yeah, that's actually a good sum up. This is like if this is like if the majority of Kingdom Hearts 2 was just the intro of Roxas, and then as soon as you start playing as Sora, you're near the end. Because again, that's essentially what this is.
Actually, Jova, knowing
it ends
what's
at it ends at.
Actually, Jova, if Kingdom Hearts was actually transitioned to the newer generation in this kind of way, I could have seen the Roxas being essentially what a 2.8 bit of story with Aqua actually.
Yeah. Again, the thing here is this: like in Kingdom Hearts 2, we play the majority as Aurora as a younger kid who's apparently the weaker version of her. Is this her true form, or is this just a super form? Because
this is the form that essentially a new form that she acquired by obtaining the power of the moon. Remember, as Pedro mentioned, she, despite having her body aged this abruptly, she still has the mentality of her child.
And this would make sense.
So it's only about kind of like about.
Well, you know, this would make sense if she was actually, an adult in the real world and she's been asleep all this time. But nope.
No, she was she. Remember, the story told again. I don't get what you guys implying like this. Again, the story pretty much told you from the beginning. She's fucking dead.
Well, Pedro said she's not.
Pedro also thought that the Duke
to be
was
fair,
still alive, so.
Well,
was
okay.
still dead, so
To
I
be fair,
don't
in
mind.
Pedro's favor though, isn't she being kept alive by the crown which protects her for the queens?
There you go. Now we need to fight the ogre. I will smash you to the floor.
The thing is, again, the rush nature of the story is.
Oh,
what
I ate
hurts
them.
There
me.
you go. He actually
That's
told
it?
us by the
Well, okay.
all of them.
I know that was predictable, but maybe you shouldn't rush through the revelation that they're all eaten. Also, this guy's...
Oh,
Unfortunate-
trust me,
sorry,
Jova, just wait until you get to see Jen's reaction to these
Also, this
revelations.
ogre is a
Not just
this
that,
ogre is a
Jova, but-
recolor of like the
Sorry.
first or second boss. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah, it is. Again, sorry, Jova. The executives refuse to give us more money and time, so we kind of have to cut
Anyway.
corners.
What Oculi did you give to, Bella? It's like the electric one?
Actually, I think it's the fire one that I still have on her.
Oh, because I know I saw a special different kind of like... Anyway, go
I'm
ahead, Jova.
immensely confused because, again, Pedro says she's alive, and I'm inclined to believe she's alive because we've established that the crown keeps her safe.
Jova, I was trying to explain that.
Go on, Pedro.
The thing is, Jova, the problem is that it's hard to even memorize stuff like that because the game because of the rushed nature of the story, the game doesn't really stop often to actually let plot points
Let me
sink
guess.
in.
Their excuse is that,
You know?
oh, but it's ambiguous. It's up to you to decide. No.
Well, yeah.
Actually, no,
Eh?
Jova. You
It's not
think
so much
you're
that.
led to that, but the ending kind of tells you what actually how
So I
things
have
are.
to ask then, if,
Yeah, the
so I have to ask
ending-
then, if Aurora's dead, why is Umbra bothering with all this then? Like, she's dead.
Because remember, technically now
she's the good
here
guy.
he is alive in the world of Lemuria, and remember she was by being the inheritor of the Queen of Light. She is by right the new ruler of Lemuria. Queen of Darkness obviously doesn't
Why?
want that.
Why do you care? I mean, you could just rule the real world's kingdom.
Jova, it's Austria at the end of the 19th century. I'm pretty sure it's not a good place to live.
Again. Okay. Then in that.
Sorry, I apologize to all Austrians out there. I still love
So wait.
Schwarzenegger.
If that's the case, then why did she bother killing Nora and her father then? If she wanted to just take care of Lemuria then, like again.
Classic villain ambition,
Because she's
wanting to
evil.
rule over everything.
Okay. This is a bit of a problem with the story. See, again, like Shuri said, the most of this felt like a prologue, and you know what? That's what it felt like to me too, in a sense that, okay, look, I get that the story's being vague, but they constantly seem to be hitting. It's like, wait for later, we'll explain stuff. That's how this game's story has kind of been going. Yet, no, apparently! It's...
I thought 80% of this game would be once we got through the mirror, but it turns out it was before.
Yeah, and again, I'm sorry, but I'm just really having trouble understanding who I should root for or why I should care now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I care for the characters, but essentially this is a dream world that the Dark Queen wants to rule over, but she also apparently wants to rule the real world, even though by that logic, shouldn't Nora also be in this world if Aurora's dead here because of this world?
Well, that's the key word, Jova. Remember, the Umbra said that she cannot harm Aurora because she has something that
So
protects
to ask,
her.
what happens after you harm Aurora in this world if she's already dead? What, does she go to super heaven or something?
Maybe she just disappears.
The thing, again, Joe, that's just the
Yeah,
thing. Like we've said,
this
this
is
is
Rust.
clearly a game. This was clearly an ambitious game where the developers had an interesting, unique vision, but they were completely, which was completely destroyed by 2014 Ubisoft not allowing them the proper development time and money to execute that vision, and as a result, the developers had to compromise.
That's
This
the
is the
thing.
result.
This
To be fair, though, this also was the starting point, supposedly, of this franchise, and from the dev teams that wanted to do this franchise. Honestly, if they knew that things would have turned out like this, we should have probably kept everything relatively
yeah,
simple.
I mean, don't.
Yeah.
Like, for
It's a
example,
real shame because this is all very beautiful, honestly.
it's not even the first time that happens, because I did some research. Apparently, Ubisoft has a habit of screwing things with development during this time. we haven't commented yet, I'm referring mostly to Jove and Pedro on this one, but for example, the plot of Two Thrones, Prince of Persia Two Thrones, had to be reworked several times.
Well, yeah, part of that was also because of fan backlash to the...
Pedro. I'm meaning Two Thrones, the third game, which we haven't commented
Part of that was
yet.
because of the terrible fan reception to Warrior Within. Gee, I wonder why they hated it.
Then, when Michel Ancel tried to continue Rayman with Rayman Origin, which, you know, the title implied it was supposed to be and the first trailer showed that it was supposed to be an origin story of the characters and everything, Ubisoft said, nope, you need to rework that as well, so the game had to rework, and it ended up having more of arcade structure by having a relatively simple, to the point of almost non-existent plot, which, to be fair, still works, because the game in itself is fun and enjoyable, that you don't really need a plot. And besides, they had like Rayman 2 and 3 kind of went very heavy with the plot, so I guess taking a break from that would have been.
Did people even hate the plots though?
Not in a sense, Jova, but I think we may fall somehow into the whole darkness-induced apathy, in a sense that Rayman 2 and 3, especially, well, the Rayman games have never been completely lighthearted, to be fair. They have at least some kind of... I mean, the villain of the first game is literally called Mr. Dark. But 2 and 3 suffers a bit of Cerberus syndrome. More 2 than 3. 2 is a lot more serious than the games. 3, it mixes things a bit, but it has that Oddworld, that flavor similar to the Oddworld games, in a sense that there is comedy, but it feels that this world is
well, here's an idea, Ubisoft. Instead of, getting rid of story, why not just make a more light-hearted one? Like, that's one thing I'll give...
That's kind of what they did with Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and probably that's why it works.
You know what? That is one reason why I will always give Sonic Colors credit. I mean, Sonic Colors, for all its issues, is one of the quintessential examples of how you can do a more lighthearted story that calms down from things after you have darkness-induced audience apathy.
I partially agree with that, Jova, but I just wish the comedy in itself was better.
The comedy is hit or miss. I personally do like the comedy. I feel it's Pontap at their best.
Sonic snarking at Eggman every 5 seconds, I could tolerate that to an extent. The whole Baldy McNoser kind of becomes a bit redundant, but nothing too special. The thing that kills me, Jova, to me, sorry, are Orbot and Cubot. Like, I can't stand them for the
Orbot, for the most part, is consistently funny for me. Cubot definitely has hit and miss. But again, though, regardless of its problems, though, I think Colors is overall a good example of how you have the series settle down for good. Now, I'll admit part of the issue is that later games kind of kept trying to go for that same tone, but that's besides the point. And to be fair, Colors
honestly, Jova, if I had to just speak very quick about the Sonic subject, Forces to me was the step in the right direction in a sense of having the more relatively light-hearted plot, but at least trying to keep your continuity at the most as possible.
For me, Sonic Colors is just a good example of how you settle down after a long run.
My problem with Sonic Forces isn't even. My problem with Sonic Forces is not even the tone. My problem with Sonic Forces is the fact that it's so blatantly.
There's no depth.
Not just that, right? There's so many things that need explaining.
Potential.
Yeah, not just that. There's so many things that need explaining that they just don't explain.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I still have no idea how the hell the Phantom Ruby works.
Well, I know how the Phantom Ruby.
The game just has the Phantom Ruby just do whatever the hell the plot.
It's a little MacGuffin. It's like the crystal ball.
If I can give them credit, they do actually say what the Phantom Ruby does. The issue is that it's not used to the proper potential to the point where they make it abundantly like. Again, overall, the Phantom Ruby does apparently affect reality regarding to specific people's minds, which makes it physically real for them. Okay, that's fine. However, also now the Phantom Ruby is also a power source. You get what I mean? Essentially, the Phantom Ruby is a giant Chaos Emerald. It does new stuff.
Here's how I would put it. The problem with Forces is that it has the coolest idea for a Sonic story ever.
Yeah, and it squanders it.
However, and that idea demands for an epic scale approach, and yet they go with the colors approach, the more simplistic approach, which
And
doesn't
people
work.
I'd say that's an
and
insult.
People complain about, oh, why do you want such a big story in your platform? But it's the it's the premise that they're going for. You can't dumb down that kind of premise. It has to be a bit. You have to go all out with that kind of plot. Like I said it before, you're dealing with an apocalypse of sorts.
Yeah,
and
sure.
you're going
Let me
to
Anyway,
go
it's
around
the
it.
entire.
Anyway. Hold on. Let me put in my thing. Let me put in my thing. I wouldn't even call that the colors approach because it's not really the colors approach. I mean, the colors approach was mainly just being more simplistic. Forces was not trying.
Well, it kind of is, considering, that plot was pretty dark in and of itself.
What I mean,
but
what
they
we
never
mean
did anything
with the colors
with that.
approach is that the cutscenes are too short. The characters, for the most part, don't stop to reflect on things. The plot just keeps going.
Well, colors actually does stop to reflect on stuff from time to time. I mean, heck, there's even that scene.
Anyway, hold on. I think we have a dialogue now. Yeah.
What about the little girl, Jen? Oh yeah, that's right. She's a thing.
What will she do? Abandoned?
She's not abandoned. She has someone with her. What are you even talking about?
Foreshadowing.
Sure.
If she waits long, I will bring more pain.
You will bring more pain? Jesus
yeah, I will
Christ.
bring you pain.
So we have to hike our ways all the way back to the village just to tell her, oh, by the way, your mommy and daddy got eaten. Do you want to join our party?
Pretty much.
Why didn't we just have her come with us then? She could have, actually.
Yeah, honestly, though, Jova kinda is a point. We should be kind of
This is like with
quest for revenge.
Okay. Imagine, again, Vincent in Final Fantasy VII. If you bring him along for the fight with Hojo, he has stuff to say about it. Like, they could have at least given us the choice to bring her with us.
Well, not only on the canon, on the Sister Ray Jova, because remember, there's that kind of a cutscene in the Northern Crater where I actually pointed out where Hojo is having his whole speech about true identity, and Vincent doesn't say a single word. He just stays there.
Well, Tio, I mainly talk about, the final battle with Hojo. It's like, well, seriously though, why not allow us to bring Jen here with us so that she can actually give the leader something, or you get special dialogue.
I get what you mean. No, but even in general, Jova, when we had this type of because every character we recruited kind of had its own personal quest mission, like Queen having to defeat the three-headed Hydra, or Robert having to defeat the Spider. So they kind of have their own personal quest, but we're bringing something to the table. Jen's personal quest doesn't involve her directly, and all the effects are only.
Do we
when
even
it's
have
done.
to go back and get her?
Weird.
Is she optional too?
Yeah, no, we kind of need, because if we try to use the elevator before Aurora is gonna, and Nichols will be like, no, we kind of need.
So it turns out that you're required to go get her anyway. So the game's padding itself
You kind of
now.
also need her because she's one of your more useful party members for the
So
endgame.
Pedro,
I don't know. Teo, light Oculi for the win.
Yeah, but no, I mean no, in a sense that being a piscean, Jen is naturally resistant to the water element, even if you don't give her water oculi. And for the final dungeon, you kind of need her, especially for the boss.
So essentially the game is resorting to padding now.
More like it just screwed up
so
the
much that.
painting.
It's more like the fact that the rushed nature didn't give them time to properly
but
think
this is
through.
padding. I mean, again, we should have been able to bring her with us. Instead, we have to go back and forth. It's arbitrary.
It's not even that big of a padding job because it's literally behind the corner.
It's really around the corner.
It's what I mean. It's simple as they just screwed up a bit with the pacing.
Again, though, this is mainly leading up to my main point, though. Okay. Ubisoft are definitely the people who rush these soaks, but I'm gonna have to agree with Tio that the devs did not handle the rushing in the best way. Like, okay, look.
Yeah, again, what I was about to mention before developing. Honestly, if they just removed the whole real world thing and just being straight set to Lemuria and just said, oh, Aurora is the daughter of the Queen of Lemuria and now she needs to get her back the throne because the Umbra Queen just took it from her. That would have been relatively made the plot even simpler. Also, guess what? The old man died in between.
What? Am
Oh,
I supposed to
It's
care?
a good thing this isn't here. Apparently.
Who's Jen? I forgot.
I think it's Jova. If I remember correctly, isn't it?
It's
Oh, no,
you.
actually it's me. Never mind. Since my
Don't worry,
parents are
Pedro. After
coming.
everything, it's still you.
Yes.
What did we...
I thought we left the memes back in fairy tale.
You're right. It's not necessarily a meme, although it's still alive.
Can I play my flute?
This is Rust. Pedro?
Joe Pedro?
Yes, please. It will make the night bright. Okay, I'm sorry. This is Rust. Like, you don't even know her that well.
Yeah, and apparently this makes her cope with the loss of her parents and mutates her sadness
Now,
into
I have
revenge.
to ask, though, I mean, how do you even know that she plays good? Like, okay, let's say, for example, what if it was Squidward offering to play his clarinet for her to make her feel better?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
what is
we
it? Okay, seriously, what's even the point of the flute here? I mean, okay, look, we know that's the case, but Jen doesn't know yet. She's saying, go ahead, it'll make the night bright. It's like, girl, for all you know, Aurora's a terrible flute player. Like, why? This is just too
Well,
Rust.
she's still alive.
It is. I was interesting you were saying that, Shiro, because I was even talking to Gavs about this when we were talking about forces in the private chat on PSN. It's like since you were talking about you have to go all out with that premise, right? Let me give you a basic summary of this game, Shiro, and tell me if this sounds familiar.
Okay.
The plot of Metal Gear Solid 4 is when it's hold on,
Isn't
Joe,
that a bit
let
off
me-
topic, though, from this game? I mean, don't get me wrong, Amico, but I mean, if you're talking about
Sure,
Sonic Forces
okay.
and Metal Gear Solid 4...
Oh, sure. I was just replying to whoever just said,
Well, we
yeah,
can
sure,
do it at the
that's
end of the
topic.
dialogue. Essentially, Aurora is saying,
Sorry
well,
about
your life kind of sucks, but can you come with us?
Yeah.
So, it's
Go ahead,
like I
Pedro.
said, essentially, your
Sorry.
parents are dead, you want to come with
The
us?
day will stop the Dark Queen. Wait until I use my magic.
I'm angry at the Dark Queen!
I'll make her scream.
Torture! That's...
Charming. So essentially Jen is the last of the race, by
That's,
the way.
nice. So, one of our protagonists wants to torture her. I mean, that's what it means when you want to make her scream.
Again, it's the whole thing about this being right. It
I think,
just screams.
To be
that
fair,
this
I'm
could have been more developed.
to be fair, I'm guessing that line is meant to be a part.
Yeah, not just that, Jova. It's all no, hold on, Jova. It's all you also to realize that Jen essentially has just realized that she's the last of her race and her parents are essentially dead after she considered them still alive after all this time. Essentially, she has been exposed to huge mental stress in a matter of 5 seconds. She's probably pissed
Here's
as
the
all
problem.
fuck right now.
This scene is not handled well enough for me to buy that. Again,
More
Yeah.
like she. It's not deserved.
it's not even so... I mean, look. Now look, if this were well done, I'd actually be praising this scene, like, oh my god, our protagonist is actually considering torturing the villain. Also, I have to ask, we know how the Dark Queen is connected to the ogre, but do the characters really know that he was working for Umbra? I mean, for all they know, he was just an ogre who ate people. What does this have to do with the Dark Queen?
But don't you see, Jova, ogres?
We are
eat
kinda
people, therefore
told-
that makes him evil. We need to
We're
kill him.
kind of told at the beginning of the game that all of the evil creatures that roam the land are spawns of a Dark Queen. It's in the poem with the stained glass
You
at the
can't
beginning.
do that game. You can't just have one person be the source of everything bad happening in an RPG without actually drawing on that world better here.
There you go.
Wait,
Cue elevator
like,
music.
again, this is a... Like, look. Even with Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII didn't go, oh, by the way, Sephiroth is responsible for every evil thing. No, there were other
And
things.
now we're in the Crystal Tower. Valuable crystal. I could take it to market. Get it? Because
This
economy.
feels like a world that was supposed to have more plot to it.
It was.
Well,
Unfortunately, well, we've already explained that.
Margaret or I could go at any
That-
moment.
Again, it's like even the rhyming's getting lazy. It's like, again, it's just so... whatever.
And I am always away seeking profit.
It's sad that I have to wonder if we're ever actually going to have any payoff to that character trait of his.
Actually, I think we do in the end.
Yeah, we do. Margaret
Yeah,
does eventually come around and
Yeah,
decide
and
to-
also the novel kind of tells where they had been through rat fashion.
A
on.
novel. Goody, supplementary material.
I already mentioned that, so I'm not gonna repeat
See you
myself.
for the next part.
Anyway, the next part.
See you, everybody.
Summon.